This is Larry the Barber Man. Today I'm in Essex at Hamlet's Boutique with Daniel Johnston. Daniel Johnston is a celebrity barber for some of the richest celebrities and athletes in the world. Daniel is also the only hairstylist that is verified on all 3 social media platforms. Currently, Daniel is spearheading the evolvement of scalp micropigmentation both in Europe and the UK, and the list goes on. But for today, we will just concentrate on what I've just mentioned. So Daniel, thank you for having me at your boutique stroke salon today. I look forward to what you have to reveal to me.
Thanks for having me.
You're very welcome. So Daniel, your journey in hair and barbering started from the age of 12.
Yes.
You opened your first shop when you were 16,
Yeah.
using your gyro check. For the purpose of the international viewers of this interview, a gyro is money that is issued from the government to someone who is unemployed.
Correct, yeah.
So, tell me how you started.
So it all started at 12 years old. I grew up in an area called St Albans in Hertfordshire. So being mixed race, half Italian, half Caribbean, my hair, when I used to have hair, it was very hard at the time it was very hard for the barbers to cut my hair, and I don't feel in those days that they was experienced as most barbers are now in terms of cutting mixed race hair. So I found myself going into London. I tried several barber shops and I still didn't quite like the vibe. I didn't like how the barbers were almost struggling to cut my hair. So that then just made me feel that I have to go and buy my own shears. So at 12 years old, I had several paper rounds as well. I've always been out hustling really, really young, trying to get it in. So I went and bought my pair of wall clippers at the time, and I started cutting my own hair in the mirror. It wasn't perfect straight away. As you can imagine, being 12, it was just a bit erratic. So I just went for the straight undercut with curls on top, you know.
Easy peasy.
Yeah, so it was basic for me. But what I did find is that my passion from 12 years old was actually going through the roof. I took to hair and styling hair really, really well. I started cutting friends and family. I was the barber for my school. So I went from doing my uncles, all my first cousins, my brothers, and then just family friends, to actually being told off at school for cutting hair at school. So when I was at school, I was told quite often from the teachers that I was a bit too ambitious. I was never going to make it. Most of the girls back then said that cutting hair isn't a great career. So I've always found myself, I've always gone against the grain. When all odds are actually against me, that's when I actually stand strong. So I started doing kids in the school, and the word started getting out. I started doing their dads, their uncles, and next thing you know, I was walking past a shop one day, and it was an old shoe shop, and it was my uncle's friend's shop. So I was in there just having some talks, and they said to me that they're shutting down the shop. So I just said as banter, I said, yeah, I'll take the shop. I started laughing, and she goes, are you serious? And I said, I'm deadly serious. So bearing in mind, I just turned 16. So from 12 to 16, I've been cutting hair for 4 years. I've had no education on cutting hair. I've had no one show me what to do. It's literally just been me and a pair of clippers and learning the mistakes by myself. So I was speaking to the woman, and she said to me, if you're serious about taking the shop, let's go. So I looked her dead in her face and I said, listen, I've got no money, I'm 16 years old, but I'm willing to take the shop. So I walked out there, I signed the contract with no money. At the time, I had to sign on because, for those that don't know, I actually had a kid when I was very, very young, in early teens. So for me, my drive was always a lot more than most people. When kids are running around playing kids chase, playing football, playing basketball, I had to think, where's my next pound note going to come from to feed my son? So for me, the rest was history. As soon as I saw him being born, for me, I had to go out there and I had to make things happen. So this was a great opportunity that I took. Yes, it was a gamble, but when you've got mouths to feed, sometimes you have to go against the grain. And I signed the deal. So I think I had £86.50p to my name. I had a huge shop, a huge shop just staring at me. So it all started from that.
Okay, so tell me a little bit about the shop. What kind of chair did you start with, and how did you market the shop?
It's funny you mentioned how the shop looked, because I literally I went home, I took a bathroom mirror. You're not going to believe this, Larry. I took a garden chair, which looked all right back then. I cleaned it up, done a little razzmatazz to it, and the swag was high. So I had literally a rectangular shop, one mirror on the wall, and a garden chair. I think I was down to my last pound. So the last pound, I looked in the mirror and I thought, Dan, you got to make this happen. You got to pound your name. You got this huge, humongous shop, no shop sign, no furniture, just literally a mirror and a chair. So pressure was on. Had to start calling in favours. I was very popular. I knew a lot of people. So I decided to get an A4 piece of paper and we divided that into 4. So I had a friend of mine and they designed literally an image of me cutting hair and all the box standard information, address and a phone number. So I went next door, I gave them my last pound to my name. Larry, my last pound to my name, and that literally means my last pound. So they gave me 1,000 copies for £1. So I said, that's 4,000 copies for me. That's all I need to start off with. So I knew all the local good-looking girls and guys as well. So I made a phone call and I said, listen, I need a favour. And they said, what's the favour? I said, very simple. You need to come out and distribute these flyers to every person walking past the shop, out the train station, even in the shops as well. I was that brave because obviously on the road you got all the toning guys and all the so-called big names. And back then I was only 16. So, within 3 months, I had a fantastic turnover. I think it was around £10,000, which was,
wow.
It was enough for me to now start and create my brand. So I went and got all the latest Barber chairs, had a brand new shop sign, and then I started recruiting. Oh, it was a bit weird because I'm 16 recruiting guys that are 20 years old and 22 years old. So they're talking to me and I'm 16 and I'm talking to them like, listen, these are the rules. So my hustle on my journey has always been a lot different to a lot of people because, as I mentioned, I had a son really, really young. So for me that I had to always push the boundaries and always maximise everything that I knew, everything that I taught myself, and then the rest was history.
Based on what you've said then, Daniel, that could only mean that you've never ever worked for anyone or gone down the traditional route of barbering. You basically just started yourself, taught yourself leadership skills, business skills and life skills.
I mean, one of the things that was interesting for me was I was expelled from several schools and told that I'd never make it. So for me, I was always told that my character was, it wasn't a normal teenager's behaviour. I was 12, but in my mind I was always, I was 21, I was 22, I was always advanced. So when I took that shop, I made a vow to myself, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to be the best in the world and I'm going to lead and demonstrate, not just to me, but for others as well, that grow up with almost deprived lifestyles. When I say deprived, I mean I grew up in a very affluent area, it's on the Monopoly board, but that doesn't mean at that particular time that I had anything. So I had the struggle of being a poor kid in a very affluent area. So that I'm actually grateful that I was raised in that area, because that made me raise the bar. Because I always looked at the guys who had the BMWs, you know, a very nice suit, a nice watch, and I'd watch them in the mornings go to work, and I thought, okay, now it's time for me to step my game up. And then I had my son, and then I had the opportunity for the shop. So when I saw that I could actually turn this around with my last pound and generate thousands of pounds, I then said to myself, I now need to create a chain, which means that if I can have 4, 5, 6 shops, it means that then I can then take things to a whole nother level. And at the same time, there was a lot of people that I grew up around, you know, some are here, some aren't. It gave me a chance to give them an opportunity, a working opportunity to actually earn some money. Because obviously when you're growing up in an area where there isn't much money if you grew up in the same circles, but obviously we're in an area with money. So you have to be smart, you have to be intelligent. And the greatest thing that I had to learn was people skills. And I just learned that on a day-to-day basis, and seeing and really looking into things in life, and almost taking a bit of everything. I read a lot of books. I look at a lot of people, how they've achieved success. I like to learn on a daily basis. So I learned a lot, and yes, I did do a lot of mistakes, but I wouldn't change that, because those mistakes that I self-taught is the reason why I'm here for today. And also, it's a great opportunity to show other barbers out there and other stylists that believing in yourself is the most important thing in the world. Take away the money, take away the glam, take away everything. To believe that you can actually go out there and make something of yourself. Once you've got that willing, I'll call it the animal instinct. Once you have that, sky's the limit.
Yeah, amazing story. You know, whilst you were speaking, it was almost like I had a picture in my mind of the pound spinning as it does on the table.
Yeah.
And then it finally dropped, you know. You've kind of revealed the secret of life just in those last 5 minutes. So I commend you. Thank you. All right, so today I'm in Hamlet's boutique, which is a very high-end boutique that caters for every single aspect of male grooming and grooming in general. Mm-hmm. Not only do you have this base, if you like, but you're known as a celebrity barber.
Yeah.
Tell me some of the clients that you deal with and some of the experiences that hair has actually taken you to.
Okay, so first of all, I have a very, very long list of clients, which are based all over the world. Different athletes, celebrities, and actors. It all actually started from my work. I'm a strong believer in. Times have changed now. Everyone's talking about Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. I'm actually going to do a challenge soon, but not in this interview, but I'm going to do a challenge. If you take Instagram, Facebook and Twitter away, what are you worth? Because when I started out, I didn't have any social media to post. I didn't have anyone to do anything for me. Everything I'd done was from my hand and my clippers and creating hairstyles. Speaking of hairstyles, one of the hairstyles I've done actually was for Gareth Bale when he signed as the most expensive player in the world in Madrid. I cut him the day before. That haircut, I'm actually in competition with myself. It created over 1.8 million trademark hairstyles around the world. It trended worldwide, global. Coming from a kid who was raised in a council flat with nothing but a dream to see your work on the front covers of GQ, Esquire, and many more magazines, and also mentioned on every TV station around the world. For me, that's a great achievement. Alongside Gareth Bale, you know, I've done the England squad. I've been flown out to Euro several times, which was great. Turn up and you trim the whole of the squad and the staff. It's amazing. Obviously, when I was out in Euros, I've done several different countries as well, because as I mentioned before, I look after a lot of players in the Premier League, and they're all from different backgrounds and countries. So for me, you know, cutting hair is taking me all around the world, and I like to. Me cutting hair has changed my life from young. You know, it's opened doors for me that no one can ever imagine. Things I've done, things I've achieved. There's places around the world that when I was staring out the window of my flat, council flat, when I was younger, staring at my baby, you know, dreaming of these destinations, America, in Dubai, you know, the list is endless. I've been all around the world, and to know that I've actually achieved that from self-belief in myself and believing that I'm going to be the best in the world, because that is what's going to happen if it hasn't happened already.
Yeah, it's an achievement. Yeah. And tell me, what kind of styles do these celebrities and athletes come to you for in particular? What would you say your area of?
I wouldn't really say that they come to me for a particular style.
Okay.
What I do is I'm renowned for transformations. If you look at Gareth Bale, I always go back to Gareth Bale, because when I first started, he was at Spurs. I first started cutting his hair. You know, everyone knew him. He had the floppy hairstyle, wasn't really spoken about. So when I actually had a phone call from one of the other players, said, look, G wants a haircut. I said, yeah, cool, send him. I went down there, sat him down, and I said, listen, I can make you a fashion icon. It's not a problem. But you have to let me do what I need to do to fit your style of how you dress, how you speak, your image, how you are on the pitch, off the pitch. Because there's more to it than just cutting somebody's hair, especially when they're in the public eye. One bad haircut, and I'm going to tell all barbers this, one bad haircut, your career is finished. So as long as everyone understands that when they're going out performing in front of millions around the world, in person, in the media, in TV, you cannot get this wrong. I said to Gareth, you need to become an icon outside of the football industry as well, because these young kids aspire to have what you have. So I always say hair is the ultimate accessory, meaning, would you go to a wedding with no haircut, in a brand new suit with brand new shoes? No. You know, would you turn up unshaven to a corporate business meeting or a business deal worth millions? No. So for me, image is everything. You know, I've seen quite a few comments on my social media saying, Dan, you're always wearing a certain thing or you're dressed a certain way. What barbers need to understand is that coming from nothing to something is a journey and it's a learning process. So for me, your first impression, when I see you, whoever you are, your first impression to me is everything. So if you turn up a certain way, that is how my first and last thought of you actually is. So for me, it's about, you have to show yourself and present yourself to the world how you want to be known. And I just want to be respected for the craft and the work that I've done for the male grooming industry, because it is a big industry. When I started out, people didn't mention it. It's now worth over 20 million. The male grooming industry, cutting hair, is worth a lot of money. And it's amazing to see so many, I will phrase that, it's amazing to see the next generation and the next generation after that, you know, wanting to strive to be a barber, a celebrity barber, you know, just in that field, being in the mix, because obviously, you know, hair is style, fashion, lifestyle, it's grooming, it's loads of different elements in the world in one. Because I know for a fact that when I cut these people and they sit down, they're telling me their personal business, because we have built that relationship, we've built that trust. Trust is another key element that no one will talk about. Everyone just sees a picture on Instagram and just says, I see you with Wayne Rooney, with Mario Balotelli, NBA stars, models. But no one doesn't understand. You can't just go from being a barber, cut whoever you cut, post and think that's it. That is not it. Trust is it's the key element. I mean, when you go into the training grounds, their personal homes, cutting their children, around their children, TV, media, press, the list goes on. It is a big list. So there's a huge element that barbers need to understand. It's a growth. You can't trim one person and the next day, post it 50 times on Instagram and think you've made it. People have to understand that to be successful is a journey. It's not like a light switch. You don't turn it on one day and say, for example, I've cut someone from my TV. Okay, that's cool, but it's a long road, very, very long road, and that's something that I've learned as well. Being self-taught, self-made, that patience. When it's your time, it's your time. I see it on social media. Barbers battling who's got the most followers. Who cares about followers? It's not about followers. It's about are you dedicated to your craft? Are you representing your work? Because I know I am. I can stand very firm and say I believe in what I do is the very best, and I only put out good work. That's why my work hits TV, national press, red carpets. So I'm just saying that if I can do this, there's thousands of barbers in the world. The world's a big place, but it's how serious are you? How bad do you want that? That's what I'm saying. So I'm here as a leader to say anything's possible and just keep believing.
It's funny you should say that because I feel like I'm in a conversation with Jackie Starr. Yeah. Jackie Starr is Mayweather's personal barber.
Okay.
I kind of had this conversation in a 32-foot RV when I interviewed her in Las Vegas. So, and in percentage terms, she said that 90% of her job with Floyd is trust. So it's funny that you echoed that off your back.
First of all, I want to say a big shout out to Jackie. Continue doing what you're doing. I think you're doing extremely well. Also being a female in the industry, I think is amazing. And I actually agree with what Jackie's saying, because trust is a serious thing. When someone lets you in their house, in their personal space, and I do mean their personal space, when that door shuts, you see all sorts going on. When you leave, I didn't see anything. I didn't hear anything. All I've done is I've gone, I've done my job, I've been the best, I've conducted myself as a businessman, and I've delivered a bespoke service that they require. That's what I do. I'm not here to tell, I hear whispers with, people around celebrities, and, they talk a lot. But it'd be interesting to see if they're still with them in 5 years, because what people see is on my website, as I've got over 10 pages of clients from all around the world, and I've been with them for over 10 years. So that comes down to trust,
So, talking about trust,
yep.
You are the only hairstylist in the world to be verified on all 3 social media platforms. Yep. Tell me how this came around and what it actually means.
Okay.
To be fair, until you told me, I didn't know this.
Okay. So, social media is the most talked about platform in the world at the moment. So when you can use social media the correct way, you can generate money and make a lot of money through social media also. For me, I'm not here to say, I've got 3 blue ticks, I'm the greatest. But what 3 blue ticks does tell me is that that I'm great at my work. I'm an influencer, and most of all, I'm always going to go back to this conversation. Growing up in a council flat, in an affluent area, to have recognition, very, very difficult. So for me, it just shows that, I'm starting to get my recognition, which is due, because I've done a lot more than most, achieved more than most. I've won consistent amount of awards. I don't know about second, I've only won first. I've appeared in, you know, several magazines, front pages and back, in the middle. I've done a lot. I've put in a lot of work into the male grooming industry. So to be seen as a leader, as an influencer, is a great thing, and I feel very blessed for that as well. So again, another message for all the barbers, hairdressers, technicians, is that, you know, I've always mentioned about self-belief, and I said before I had any of these blue ticks.
People laughed at me.
Yeah, so people said, "Oh, you're crazy. Are you never going to get a blue tick? You need to be like, you know, the Kardashians." And I said, I am the Kardashians in male grooming. I don't need to be like, I'm a strong believer in, I don't need to be like anybody. But one thing that I do believe in is that I'm going to be seen and remembered as one of the greatest guys in the male grooming industry for achieving so much, you know, achieving what I've achieved, and to actually to have the recognition. It means a lot to me personally. I don't really care what anyone, you know, sees or thinks. For me, growing up in the council estate, and I'm always going to say that because I have to be real. I'm not here to try and sugarcoat any kind of situation. To achieve what I've achieved is great, and I just want to say, you know, to everyone out there that just keep working hard and let your hands do the talk. Meaning, barbers, let your work do the talking. There's no point you can tell people until they're blue in the face how great you are. Let them see greatness, show them greatness. And with the social media, I'm grateful as well. It's a great way to interact with people, to network with people. As you can see on my timeline, a lot of people mention me from all walks of life, sports athletes, actors, and so on. But I'm extremely grateful.
Okay, so you should be. And that's the greatest feeling in the world, knowing that you worked your butt off, and finally someone gives you ticks or accolades or awards or, you know, acknowledgement of what you've actually done, and you know how many wooden floors or sofas or whatever the hard work may have been. And
I'm going to say one last thing on that subject, is that I haven't mentioned this, but I've made a lot of sacrifices.
Evidently.
And people, most people work 9 till 5, shut the door, in the pub, drinks, night out. For me, I can't tell you the last weekend I had to myself was probably 5 years ago. I'm deadly serious, Larry. I don't mess about. My work is serious. So no one doesn't see the time away that you have to spend away from your children, away from your loved ones, away from your family, because I'm busy. I'm around the world, and I'm you know, I believe in my dream, and I've got to focus, and I'm not just doing it for me, but I'm doing it for them as well. And sacrifice is a big thing. So to be successful, you have to be. This is one of my rules. You have to be willing to sacrifice and give up what you love daily to change that to work. It's all about your work rate. If your work rate isn't sky high, pack your clippers away, put them in a box, go be a postman. Simple.
I'm glad you said that, and do you know why? Because I was driving here today just thinking my life has kind of gone, and that's kind of reinforced the fact that I need to keep going at that pace and make the sacrifices you've just mentioned. So I thank you. All right, so let's move on to scalp micropigmentation. This is a procedure by your own admission that personally changed your life, both personal and business. Tell me about this procedure and how it changed your life.
It happened several years ago. I found myself that when I lost my hair from such early, you know, I lost my hair quite young. So for me, it was always kind of, I tried to save it, you know, I used to try and shape it a certain way or add a tram line in or try and make it look like it was a style. But you come to a point where, Larry, you have to let it go. So I just said to myself, you know what, I want to take it off. One of the key elements that I found, being a businessman, entrepreneur, is that sometimes when you're in a room and you've got a bald head and you're having a meeting, it can be quite intimidating. I found that quite a lot. So even though I could speak well and I'm self-taught, self-made, I know how to conduct myself, there was still something missing. And I found that it wasn't until I spoke to someone after meeting one day and we're talking about, you know, just business and life in general. And he goes, Dan, do you know what, like, if you actually grew your hair back, I think you could take doors off. I was like, what do you mean? He goes, you know, sometimes it can look a bit intimidating. So some people talk in subliminals. So I took that as a positive. Some people just turned around and maybe knocked him out. I don't know. But I took that. As you know what I done, Labby? I shook his hand and smiled. And I said, thank you for telling me that, because for me, information is key. I'm a strong believer in the more knowledge you have, you can excel in business. So I started doing some mad research. I was online, hair implants, this, that, da, 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 da. I thought, what can I do as an enhancement from not just how people see me, but for myself? What can enhance how I look? That can, you know, can make me interact more in business. That can open doors and not be so intimidating. So I said to myself, okay, cool. So I found this stuff. Scout. I was looking into it. I said, I'm having it done. Being a barber, I just know when something that I feel will be right for me, I'll just go and do it. I don't need to think about it too often. Found it, done it. Best thing I've ever done. Ever done. Literally.
Because
First of all, as you can see, I'm looking sharp from all angles. Yeah, I know you can see that sharp.
unlike me.
A lot of guys say, "Oh, Dan, I can't even tell." Like, you know. So I really loved the treatment, and I was really watching how the guy was doing it. So I was thinking, I'm going to ask this guy a few questions. So, you know, I was asking the guy a few questions, not about the treatment. What was you doing before this? Because it just showed me that this guy, he's got no history of hair whatsoever. He's just gone from being, you know, doing IT, he learned how to do this, amazing treatment, and it's a life-changing treatment to making me look amazing. Me, look amazing. I'm a guy who's grafted from 12 years old till now. This guy's just gone from one job, he's done a course, he learned how to do it, he's got a clinic, he's licensed, bang. I said, amazing. I said, show me. He said, no. I looked him in his eye, I said, why not? He goes, I'm going to be very blunt with you. You're like a figure in the industry. If I show you, then you're going to become my competition. So for me, I like business. So that got my back up, you know, my chest out. I said, did he just say to me no? I said, all right. I said, no problem. So I walked away, and you know, that animal instinct, Larry, that I mentioned in the first start of this interview, the beast come out growling, roar. So as we do, I'm done. A door opened for me, had the opportunity. I didn't just take it, I grabbed that. I hugged it like never ever before. I said, I'm here. And again, going back to self-belief, can I make this work? The answer is yes. Of course it is. Because barbers talk about, and myself, I speak about how I can make people look good. But what we don't talk about is the guy that walks into the barber shop that's going bald on top and still trying to have a skin fade. But it looks completely wrong, because us as barbers know that when you're going thin, you're losing hair. Then you get guys coming in that want a shaped up hairline. The hairline's gone, you know, an inch too far back. The two go hand in hand. Amazing. So not only are we taking hair off, but we can create the illusion that that you've never lost your hair. So some guys can actually shave the hair off and have it like mine, so it's sharp on all the corners. And some guys that have got hair on top but they're thinning, I can add the density from the scalp micropigmentation to make them look like that they've got a full set of head. So it's amazing. So that's something that I've done for quite some time now. It's only just come to the light now because I'm a silent mover. I work very, very skillfully. I'm not a guy to shout too much. I don't really do the talking. As I've said before, you let your work speak for itself. When people see the work, seeing is believing, and the rest is history. I've done several footballers, I've done a few actors. Now you've actually seen mine. When you watch football or watch TV, as barbers, you will be looking and it will be noticeable. They're the ones I've done so far. So I can't say names, specific names, but what I can say is, yes, they are on TV, yes, they are athletes, and yes, I've changed their lives. These guys are sending me selfies months down the line. And for me, that is so amazing to see a transformation that effectively takes 3 to 4 sessions, depending on how bad the balding is or the receding, taking about 3 hours on each treatment.
And I think what's important as well that you didn't say is that it can be as subtle or as stark as the client wants it to be as well.
I mean, haircuts, hairlines, styles are all down to the individual. So I'm actually glad you've asked me that, because this is a treatment that it's almost like a reverse haircut. You can choose the shade, yeah, which I think is very, very clever. Choose the shade that your client's happy with. So your client can customize their hairline to have it looking sharp, have it looking soft, a natural shaven look. It's all down to the individual and their personal preference of what they actually would like as an enhancement. And then we're there as a skilled team to sit them down, have a consultation, have the treatment done, and guide them through all the way out. So if however somebody went too dark, there is procedures that we can instruct, put in place for them to actually almost reverse the treatment back, which is slightly longer because it's a longer process.
So let's say, and like I said at the beginning, you're kind of spearheading the evolution of this. If a barber wanted to get involved, how would he go about doing that?
Okay, that's a very good question. I'm glad you've answered that, Larry, because it's a big announcement, and I think it's only right to do it right now, as you've asked me. And I'm a guy with the animal instinct, and basically I'm going to tell all barbers, hairdressers, technicians that I'll be launching a scalp academy, which is going to be launching in June, called micropigmentation, and it's going to be a course which is going to be on a monthly basis. There's 2 HQs. So if you're in London, we've got one in London, and if you're up north, we've got one up there as well. I'm going to be at Barber Connect this year as well, actually showcasing how to rebuild a hairline from scratch to one looking like mine. It won't be as defined because it's the first session, and a good hairline needs 3 sessions. So it's a good way to show barbers in the flesh of how it's done as well. I'll be doing a social media campaign across all my social media platforms as well, announcing dates for all of my workshops for barbers and hairdressers. And also the scalp micropigmentation isn't just for men, it's for women as well, because a lot of women suffer after having a baby, hair loss, stress, having hair for all the time, damaged hair through hair extensions as well, because a lot of girls are out there and they're having hair extensions, not realising it's actually damaging their hair as well. So I've seen some scenarios, obviously I can't mention who, but we've done a lot of work with the females as well, damaged hair and repairing. So it's a great platform for all the barbers to come and learn the other side of male grooming, because this is a sector that I feel that needs to be addressed, and I feel that this could be a treatment that every barber can actually offer this service in their barbershops. I'm going to touch base very quickly about the barbershops, because they actually have the walk-in guys, the everyday man from the pub, postman, you know, the list is endless, that walk that walk into their shops, that actually have these hair loss problems. And you know, it's good that with the male grooming now, the guys are getting more and more into themselves, their eyebrows, the waxing, you know, suntans. This is just another element which can actually enhance not just the client, but from a business perspective, that barbers who are charging, you know, £5, £10, and I'm not saying it in a disrespectful way, because I'm one of those guys who was, you know, counting my £5 coins when I'd done a skin fade back in my council flat, you know, that this treatment costs £3,000. Effectively, it's £3,000 for 3 hours work. But if you count the amount of sessions they actually need to have, it's 3 sessions. So let's do the maths. 9 hours work, £3,000. Okay? If they have, you know, a full scalp treatment. How many barbers can earn £3,000 in 3 hours?
Check your stuff. One.
Well, I mean, there's different levels of the barbering, but obviously this is a treatment that is 50-50. 50-50, you can make extremely good money.
Mm-hmm.
But for me, the most important side of it is you're changing someone's life. It's not a haircut that lasts 10 minutes. I say 10 minutes meaning a week, 2 days, depending on your lifestyle, of who you are as a client, is to how many times you have a haircut. This treatment lasts 5 years. 5 years, Larry, is a long time.
So it's actually in the client's financial interest, because if you are at that stage where you shave your head, 5 head shaves a week is £500. Yeah, loss of time going to the barber shop, feeding the parking meter, etc., etc., etc. It kind of stacks up and makes sense.
Yeah, and I also think that scalp micropigmentation is the other half of male grooming, because no one ever speaks about hair loss in the industry. Why not? I spoke about it for years. I speak day to day with some of the wealthiest people in the world. They suffer from hair loss. They speak to me. They actually call me Dr. Johnson now. Yeah, so it's I can only advise them into what I can do, but I mean, it's a fantastic treatment, and I think it's a course that all barbers should learn how to do and come on the course and learn to enhance themselves as learning something new, because everyone can learn how to do a skin fade or learn how to do the old school pattern palm tree with a girl laying on the beach or anything like that. Those are just the traditional ways. But sometimes in business, when you stick to something, you can't ever elevate, you can't grow. There's only so many different hairstyles you can actually create. But when they're finished, what happens then? What happens to the guy who's got no hair? How are you looking after him?
Yeah, it's funny you should say that, because I was just kind of waiting here to come in and come at you, because I just had another thought as well.
Yeah.
Because you know, you can have a client, you can see him probably up to the age of 33. When he starts receding, then he's going to go to the wholesaler, get a hair clipper, and just cut himself down.
Yeah.
If you want to, you know, monetize at that stage in his life, you can give him an alternative to that with scalp pigmentation.
And I think that if every barber out there had an extra service for their client, I seriously feel we're talking viral. I don't mean this is in a few magazines. This is a global treatment that is available for everyone and all nationalities everywhere, male and female. And I feel that this could be in every barbershop, every hairdresser, every boutique. It's a treatment. Until you've had the treatment, on my social media, you can see that I've done several people. I've got testimonials on there. You can see it in their face. The reaction that they have from that is a lot different to a haircut. I mean, a haircut, everyone can be, yes, you're looking sharp, looking fresh, I'm buzzing, I feel confident. But to take a guy who's got no hair, as an example, to have a scalp treatment and help him grow as a person, help his self-belief, going back to the animal instinct. Some guys, their confidence is from the head up. So if they lose their hair, it's almost the Clark Kent and Superman, but role reversal. They go from Superman back to Clark Kent, and they, you find themselves. I'm sure barbers can agree with what I'm saying, that a lot of guys are quite closed books when they start losing their hair. They're not going to the gym as much. They're not trying to get that girl in the bar no more. Their confidence goes from 10 to 2 because of hair loss. So if us as barbers can change the industry and make every guy feeling like they're a 10, they're a 10, they're a 10, who knows what can be achieved?
So Daniel, I'm sold on scalp micropigmentation. I just want to ask you a series of quick questions because we've gone, way over. But to be fair, the content and the information and your story has been so fascinating. I just had to let the cameras roll, but we have to kind of go into a different gear now. So I'm sold. How long would it take for me as a barber to get qualified, go on the training before I can be shop ready and show a return on my investment?
Okay, so I'm glad you've touched base on that, because I feel that it's very important that the barbers, that when you're making your money, reinvesting in yourself is something that I'm a strong believer in, and that I highly recommend. The course itself, it would take 3 to 5 days. It will be a practical and as well as written as well. So once you've done the course and you've provided your models, you actually get a license as well. So we are the only company that are licensed to give licenses as well, so that once the barber's done and had the course and had the training and provided their case studies, they actually get signed off by the government as well, MVQ4, which is very, very important, because this is something that barbers, as soon as you have this in your barber shop and you create a small space, because you only need, I'm going to be very quick with this, you only need a small area in your barber shop to provide this service. So you get your investment back within the first 2-3 clients you have, which is amazing, because obviously, as I said in my interview, that it's a long road and you have to work hard and build and build and build. Once people recognise your work, that is good, sky's the limit.
Okay, and you just touched on one point where, because I just want to close out on this. You just mentioned the word model, so it's fair to say after the training they're actually given a model that they can do the procedure on. So would that mean that the barber could actually take a photograph of the model and use that as their starting point to build their business? Yeah,
I mean, what the barbers normally do is that they find their models, like a friend who wants it done, and they bring them. So all of the work that we take, of all the pictures of them working, doing the live demos, doing the talks, filling out the paperwork, providing the certificates, all of those things for marketing material, which you're going to need, we provide all of that. So anything that they've actually done on the course, they can take away with them and use that to grow their business, for their website, for their Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, however they wish to market themselves and brand themselves. We initially give them all of the tools, including the actual machine. So a lot of courses that people go on, it's just a course and then a certificate. You come onto my course, I give you a machine worth £3,500. That's included with the course, and you get a certificate and the license. You're good to go. The actual size of the machine, it can fit into a man bag. There's 2 different machines that we have. One's very, very small, or if you're a female who's trying to get into the business, then it's the same, it's slightly bigger, but because they're going to be doing, the eyebrows, the tattooing, the eyelids, there is another machine which they can do. However, this same machine, it can do many different things as well. I do a facial called Meso for men, and it's like a non-surgical facelift. it's another fantastic service which you can use. And I actually do those courses as well for the facials as well. So I feel that the two go hand in hand. So for all of them barbers trying to invest in themselves, I think it's a small amount of money for the amount that you actually, for your return that you get back is absolutely immense. It's just through the roof. It's just, how are you going to work? Have you got the animal instinct in you? Do you believe in yourself that you can make this the biggest thing on your high street, in your barbershop, in your clinic? Do you want to be that guy? I do.
Okay. So, big question is, if a barber wanted to get involved, where could he find the information on starting one of these courses?
Harry, you are dropping bombs on me. Give me 1 second. I've got so many dates, country locations, I'm going to tell you on my phone right now where you can find me doing live demonstrations, showcasing the scalp micropigmentation and giving people the opportunity to come and see the actual treatment being done. So the locations that I'm going to be, everybody, is Barber Connect in June, which is going to be fantastic. I find I've only been there once before, so it's a great honour to be asked to come back and to showcase something new to the industry that barbers can learn and enhance and cover all aspects for their clients and also to earn an extra income. And last time I was there were so many younger barbers there, which is, for me, I think it's amazing. So Barber Connect, I'm going to be there. Salon International in October. We've got a London Hair Loss Conference in November in Bangkok. For all my Bangkok fans, I'm coming for you as well. We're going to show you the most swag out there. Also, we're going to be looking at new scalp pigment ranges. So we're going to have our own line of pigments. As colouring, as shades. It's going to be our own colours. And it's going to be available to the market very soon. Micropigmentation, that's the name of the that's the name of the brand, and I see this in every barbershop around the world, not just the UK, but globally. And we're touching down in Milan in May. So in Milan, we're going to salons and we'll be actually showing them. So I'll be doing courses in a few salons in Milan, which have asked me to fly over to show them how it works and how it's done. So they've paid. So it's a great honour to go out there as well. So the response I'm having, Larry, at the moment is absolutely amazing. I'm extremely grateful, and it's just nice to actually give back to everybody and just show them that this is the latest must-have. If you haven't got the micropigmentation tool in your shop, you are going to be losing out, because there's going to be many barbers from all around the world who I've spoken to recently, and they're actually starting to. They booked the course, they're refurbing their shop, they're already making sections for the shop already, and they're sending me pictures. So it's just so amazing to see that a guy from a council estate is just showing so much influence. I always go back to the council estate because it's a dream, but being in the business of the male grooming, I was smart enough to see that there's a market there that nobody has touched. Yes, there are clinics out there that are doing it, but these are guys that are just worked in an office and done the course. Whereas us barbers who work hard, we work hard day and night. I remember starting at 9, finishing at 9. No joke, no food, no drink, nothing. Bang, 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 bang. Trim. But to see the hair loss market, which is absolutely massive, and I mean massive, like to a whole nother level.
Excited you are.
It's amazing to be, because we're also doing work with kids that have alopecia, guys and women as well. So we're touching bases on all walks of hair loss. So some people that suffer from alopecia and they've got burns, scarring, this is a treatment that we can actually cure and make them happy, and almost give them a whole new look. So for me, it's just amazing.
Okay, so let's say that someone didn't want to come to Barber Connect or didn't want to come to Milan or Salon International, and they were good to go now.
Yeah.
How do they contact you? What's the website address?
Yeah, it is www.micropigmentation.co.uk, or check out www.iamdanielj.com, and that's on my personal. So guys, make sure you check it out. I update very regular news of what's happening, where I'm going to be, appearances and tips, grooming. List is endless, Larry.
Okay, and let's say that someone's watched this interview. I'm always fighting in the corner for the barbers. If you've seen my work, you would have seen that I'm always fighting for the barbers and improvement and trying to give them savings. Would there be any chance of them getting some form of saving if they mention they've seen this interview?
I'm glad you touched base on that, because what we're actually doing is I understand that not everyone can afford a certain amount of money to physically take from their hard earnings to come on the course. However, what we're doing is small deposits, and we're doing finance plans. So that's enabling barbers across the world that it's affordable for everyone. There's no eliminations. It's affordable for everybody, and everyone can do the course. So there's different packages that we can do for yourselves in regards to the course, and I'll be giving out some discount codes on my social media as well. That if they're booked up by a certain date, then I might get 10% off or 15% off. And most of all, that I understand that not all barbers can not afford, because it's the wrong word, but not all barbers can
allocate so much money.
Yeah.
At one time.
I understand they've got barber shops and they've got bills, and then they've got the rates, they've got the wages, they've got the staff. I understand, I've been there. But what I can offer is them to earn tenfold of their money.
That guaranteed.
Guaranteed money.
With the right attitude, of course.
Animal instinct.
Okay, there you go. That's been the key word of the day.
Yeah.
So Daniel, thank you very much for sharing your past, your present, your vision of the future, both for yourself and the barbering community with the Scout micropigmentation.
Yeah.
With your permission, I'd like to come back and see this procedure in action. As you know, like we've spoken a lot about it, I'm really, really sold. Like me, I'm sure the barbering community would like to go a little bit deeper. So I'd like to come back and see you in action with that. But until then, carry on doing what you're doing. Keep up the great work. This, like I said, has been one of my most inspirational interviews. I'm sure this is going to change the mindset of the average man and give them the killer instinct.
Yeah.
So thank you very much.
I'd like to say thanks for having me. And barbers, it's been an honour to be here today, to sit down with Larry to discuss my journey with you all, and stay tuned. For those guys who are on social media, on Twitter is @IamDanielJ, Instagram is @IamDanielJohnson, and my Facebook is official Daniel Johnson. So stay tuned, and I look forward to seeing you soon. All those guys who are going to Barber Connect, I'll see you down there, and come and watch a live hairline rebuild.
Thank you very much.